we're just going to kind of run through as Mary Jo finishes. Chris Renouf is going to come up. Chris Renouf is from Sarasota County School District in Florida, and Chris has been a partner in this process from day one. And he is a principal who just took it on as a principal in his school and really went gangbusters with it. And so I just always go back and manage up and use Chris as an example. And then we'll end with Denny Wilson, who we have worked with for years in many different capacities. He lives in our hometown, and he has such a great story about turning around a high poverty that was considered a low-performing school. And it's just all three of these principals are just absolutely great principals, but most important to me is they're just wonderful people. And so I'd really like, at this point, if you would...
Hey, you sure you don't want to go after that? I'm wondering why I wasn't before lunch. Good. Wow. Mary Jo, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. And thanks for waking everybody up after lunch. Just a few thoughts before I begin. I just want to say on behalf, and I'm sure everybody else, I'm just going to echo the sentiments of Jen and Robin for organizing this network opportunity. I'm just going to tell you the slate of presenters and the progression of expectations and experiences that people have had. I know how worthwhile this for me. Hopefully it is for everybody else. Big round of applause. And for those of you, Janet and I, we started way back with Bill in Janesville and many others. You see a lot of familiar faces. We didn't have any time at all, literally, before this presentation, so I'm not even sure what slides are up there. But we didn't have time to connect, but it is so funny. As I listened to the presentation this morning, it is amazing, truly uncanny, how much consistency there is across the school districts across the nation. And so, again, I'm just going to say ditto up front, because you are going to hear some things that you've already heard this morning. And again, for those of you that are just on that verge, wondering, is this something, whether you hate it or not, it might seem a little scary, but folks, all means all. You're absolutely right. All means all, and it works. So again, glad to be here today. Oops, wrong way. It's great to hear such positive results, not just with Mary Jo, but across the board, especially when at a time when leadership is under intense scrutiny. It has never been more difficult to try to be a leader. And I think most of you, all of you in your positions know that. And I can, firmly say that, when we are pressured to produce all the time, sometimes our priorities get a little bit mixed up. And so I started with this slide on purpose, and I just really wanted to start there because you know what? Before we begin, I think there's three things that we need to be really, really clear about. First, we need to know what our priorities are. Two, we need to be clear with everyone with whom we work. We need to be clear about what it is we expect. And last but not least, and probably the most important, I think we need to make sure that we, with all our being, believe in what we're doing, but also what we're expecting of others to do as well. As the first bullet says up here, I'm not a professional presenter. I'm a site-based administrator. I've been working in the building for 20 years now. And then again, that's where I do all my work with teachers and kids. I am so happy to see so many people as a superintendent at the board level, because I can tell you right now, it definitely comes from the top, but it's great to be here. I'm also a dad, and so that gives me that unique perspective when you're sitting there dealing with kids every day. But last but not least, I'm a latecomer. I'm a latecomer to education. I left the corporate world because, you know what, I was looking for meaning, and I was looking for purpose. And maybe some of you are sitting in that same situation where you came a little bit late. But you know what? I came to education and I realized that it was a calling. There absolutely is a place that you can make a difference. So before I begin, I just really want to applaud all of you, because you took time today to be here. You listened to Mary Jo, and everyone here is here either one, validating the things that you're doing back in your district, which are impacting kids and staff, but you're also maybe hoping to hear just even one thing that you can take back and will positively influence things that are going on in your building. So again, I applaud you for being here. Just a little bit about me. Been an elementary principal. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I don't know, maybe it's time for me to get out, but it's been incredible. I've been at Large, and when I say large, in the state of Florida, schools have a tendency to be a little larger. At the high SES, upper middle class school, and that's where I'm at right now, is Ashton. I'm back there. I was there for 9 years, kind of taken on assignment for 6 years, and that's the piece I'm going to talk a little bit about. That school was 1,350. The assignment that I was given and placed at 6 years ago was Toledo Blade Elementary School. You see it up there on the right, it was 1,650 students when I arrived. It was facing corrective action, a school that was facing corrective action, hadn't made an AYP ever. Okay, the employee demographics, I was telling Denny a little earlier, you wonder why we couldn't hold on to any employees there. 75% of my teachers were new. There was one previous leader who opened that school. I applaud his efforts, however, he was revered in that community, and that school had gone nowhere. So when I was placed there, I knew it wasn't going to be a popular assignment. To add to the challenges, 3 weeks into the job, when I started at Toledo Blade, I was there on a Sunday. I guarantee many of you can certainly relate to that. I was working on our school improvement plan. And I got a call from the Northport Police Department that one of the students, that I have a phone number for one of our first grade students. I didn't know the student, I was only there 3 weeks, 1,650 kids. I can tell you right now, they told me that she was missing, called back 10 minutes later, found out that she was abducted and she was murdered. Folks, just all of that, talk about putting in perspective. That community, that school community and community was reeling. They were hurting. And you know what? I stepped in as the brand new leader. So talk about that sense of urgency. Where do you start with that? And you know what? And listening to you all today, and back then as well, although I thought I was the only one dealing with those kinds of challenges, I quickly realized that, you know what, the challenges I was facing at Toledo Blade weren't very different from the challenges that hundreds and thousands of folks across the nation at various schools were facing. So you know what? The staff at Toledo Blade had a choice. We had a couple of choices. One, we could continue on the same path that we were on. Really, we weren't seeing an upward trend, no positive trend. I could just assimilate in as the new principal. Everybody would have been fine with it, and things would have gone ahead and gone as normal. Two, we could have given up. We had a lot of things against us, as many schools do. We could have just admitted defeat. Or three, we could have believed. We could have believed, and you know what? I got to tell you, just like our counterparts in healthcare, I have to believe that every teacher wants to do a good job. I have to believe they got into the career with that intention, support people as well, that they really want to make a difference. They want to have purpose in their lives. And you know what? When explained to them, I also know that I don't believe there's teachers out there that are afraid of accountability. Sometimes it's just not clear what's being expected of them. So you know what? You know, the teachers, and I applaud them at Toledo Blade because they took a leap of faith. They took a leap of faith to go ahead and refocus, regroup, and commit. And that was 6 years ago. And if you're here because you want to, you know, like whether it was, you know, in any of the presentations you've heard today or from Mary Jo, you want to increase satisfaction amongst parents, amongst staff, morale. Don't know if it's a problem at anybody else's place, but you know, it can be there. Decrease staff turnover. Start retaining some folks so you can actually invest in some quality professional development. That therefore you can help your staff, who can ultimately pay dividends for your kids. Or if you want to increase student achievement, or maybe a combination of all of those, you absolutely are in the right place. Janet hasn't told me what I'm supposed to say. I'm just glad to see the slides that I thought were going to be here right here. I just want to tell you, you know what? When I first heard Quint speak, and it was years ago, that was back at Ashton. And I had the opportunity to go ahead and start playing a little bit and tinkering with some of this. It was at Toledo Blade that I dove in. And we didn't have a district initiative. It was a few of us principals. And I just go ahead because it aligned so closely with my beliefs that, you know what, I really believe this is the right thing to do. I wanted a place where I could make a difference, and I believe the people that were going to be on my team who also wanted that. And so you know what, if you're here because you want any of this, I can tell you right now, the tools, the tactics, the principles, and the must-haves absolutely transcend healthcare, and they absolutely perfectly fit in the educational arena. Now, with that being said, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that there has to be a deliberate focus. I'm going to go ahead and spend just a second, and I get to be the voice of the person who gets to relay and celebrate the successes, but it was the hard work of the team back at Toledo Blade. They were a dysfunctional team at the very, very beginning, but over the course of 6 years, and the people that stuck together throughout that 6 years, these are some of the things that we got to see. Huge reduction in our turnover so that we can start investing in our employees. They are a little different. I just want to let you know, we have climate surveys. We have climate surveys from the district that are given out every single year. We give them to our instructional personnel and our support staff. In 1 year, we saw tremendous growth. I'll see if it's in here, if it's in the slides. The other pieces are support staff. You cannot forget the people that work behind the scenes. And I don't care if it's custodial, food service, bus driver, it doesn't make any difference. Every single one of these people make a difference within your organization. We also